Now, today, in Focus, we bring you the latest on the Zika virus. The three countries most affected have been Brazil, Colombia and El Salvador. And that's where we're going to be taking you today. The small Central American country, barely 200 kilometres in length, but nearly 8,000 cases of Zika have been diagnosed. Now, amid some of the most repressive abortion laws in the world, the Ministry of Health has now issued a surprising recommendation to women due to possible consequences for newborn babies, and that advice is don't get pregnant until 2018. Well, Laurence Covillier and Mathieu Comin have this report for us.
Just walking into a pharmacy in El Salvador is enough to get a scale of the problem.
Condones.
No vendemos eso.
No hay nada de condones aquí?
No.
¿En ninguna de las San Nicolás? ¿Pero por qué? O sea, ¿qué?
Política de la empresa.
¿Y cómo lo justifica la empresa?
¿Ya le voy a regalar una información?
Sí.
At the bottom of the leaflet is a message: protect yourself the only way. Be faithful to your family for life. Despite fears of the consequences of Zika on infants, the policy remains stringent. In El Salvador, religion holds sway over public life. 60% of pregnancies in the country are unwanted. This clinic, 50 kilometres from the capital, San Salvador, is one that dispenses free contraceptives to women.
This here is the 1-month injection and the pills.
But what's lacking is prevention and sex education. Tatiana is 25 and expecting her third child.
I got pregnant by mistake. It was not planned, but it happened. It is a bit taboo here. We don't talk about contraception.
We try to help our patients, but the trouble is the program only lets us see women who are already pregnant.
Dr. Polanco monitors 6,000 pregnancies a year. Since the beginning of the Zika crisis, he has been limited to recommending a closer vigilance of the disease.
The nurse has explained the warning signs: headaches, distorted vision.
There have been no cases of microcephaly here yet, but the paediatrician next door is on the alert. Abortion is completely illegal in El Salvador and is punishable by 2 to 12 years in prison. The UN has recommended that countries affected by the virus legalise abortion, at least temporarily. This is the response of the Health Ministry.
We have answered as the Health Ministry and as the National Health System by supplying and distributing family planning methods in all the health system's establishments. Do you envisage temporarily allowing abortion? I'm not aware of any such decision.
The government avoids the question of abortion, arguing there haven't been any suspected cases of microcephaly in infants. However, cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome have increased 5-fold since last November.
Cierra los ojos lo más que pueda. Cierra los ojos. Eso. Enseña los dientes.
This is one consequence of Zika being studied. In this hospital, 118 cases have been treated in 3 months.
If the patient arrives with a respiratory failure and is not given breathing support, or if there is not medical intervention, it can be fatal. Generally, 20 to 25% of cases result in death.
Faced with the danger, authorities are carrying out massive fumigation to eliminate the source of the problem, Aedes aegypti, a mosquito that has been tracked for a long time here, as it's a vector for dengue and chikungunya.
There has been a complete turnaround because there were places that hadn't been fumigated in over a year. So this is about the third time we've fumigated the whole town since the start of the crisis last year.
The trouble is, the fumigant is hazardous as it consists mainly of diesel. Recently, the government has turned its sights to a new natural eradication method devised in a small village on the Pacific coast. These small fish, called sambos, might not look like much, but because of them and MARIELOS SOSA, there's not been a single case of Zika nearby.
The fish eat the mosquito eggs and stop the reproductive cycle.
Marielos and her young volunteers breed and distribute these fish for free. In El Salvador, water is often stored in open-air tanks, which are perfect breeding grounds for mosquitoes. She came up with the idea while passing a disused swimming pool.
We saw that the pool was full, and when we looked closer, we noticed that there was no larvae. We thought that's odd that there's no larvae in this rainwater. And then we figured it out when we saw that the fish were coming to the surface. And we said, this is the solution for San Diego. And we started a pilot plan in 10 homes.
Marielos has so far set her little protégés loose in 300 homes.
We haven't had the chikungunya, Zika, or any of those other illnesses. Today I pay attention to the fish because they've been very helpful.
The Ministry of Health is expected to expand Marielos's program all over El Salvador. The country could be about to escape the worst of a virus whose impact on human health is still not fully known.
The latest there on the Zika virus in El Salvador.